In the landscape of high-performance automotive engineering, the quest for precision and reliability often begins far away from the glare of the showroom floor. Before the name Pulsar became synonymous with specialized electrical components and performance tuning solutions, the industry was defined by a rigid dichotomy between mass-produced reliability and temperamental custom modifications. During the late 20th century, as electronic fuel injection and digital engine management systems began to replace mechanical predecessors, a significant gap emerged in the aftermarket sector. Enthusiasts and professional racing teams found themselves limited by hardware that was either too rudimentary for complex tuning or too fragile for the rigors of sustained competitive use. The historical context of the era was one of transition, where the mechanical soul of the automobile was increasingly being governed by silicon and software, yet the tools available to optimize these systems remained largely experimental and prone to failure under extreme thermal or mechanical stress. The origins of Pulsar can be traced back to a small group of engineers and automotive hobbyists who operated out of a modest workshop, driven by a specific dissatisfaction with the existing state of ignition technology. The founders were not necessarily seeking to build a global brand, but were instead motivated by a pragmatic need to solve recurring electrical failures in high-output engines. At the time, ignition coils and pulse generators, the very components that give the company its namesake, were often the weakest link in a performance build. These parts would frequently overheat or lose signal integrity at high rotations per minute, leading to engine misfires or catastrophic mechanical failure. The founders recognized that the social and economic shifts of the time were pushing more individuals toward personalized automotive expression, yet the technical foundation to support this movement was lacking. Their motivation was rooted in the belief that electronic components should be as durable as the forged steel internals of the engines they controlled. The early years were characterized by a series of quiet struggles and a persistent lack of capital. Operating on the periphery of the established automotive industry, the team faced significant technical limitations. They spent countless hours hand-winding copper coils and testing various potting compounds to insulate sensitive electronics from the harsh vibrations of a racing environment. Many of their initial prototypes failed during testing, succumbing to the intense heat cycles that define high-performance driving. There was a profound sense of uncertainty during this period, as the founders balanced their professional lives with the grueling demands of a startup that had yet to prove its viability. They were working in a niche within a niche, and the market for high-end, specialized electrical pulses was unproven. The uncertainty was compounded by the fact that larger, established manufacturers had little interest in producing small batches of over-engineered components for a fractured aftermarket. Building the first viable Pulsar products required a fundamental shift in how electronic components were perceived in the automotive world. Instead of treating the ignition system as a secondary accessory, the team approached it as the primary nervous system of the vehicle. The initial products were built using industrial-grade materials that were more commonly found in aerospace applications than in local auto parts stores. This commitment to material science became the cornerstone of the brand's identity. The process was slow and methodical, involving the rigorous documentation of every failure. By analyzing why a specific transistor failed or how a housing cracked under pressure, the team was able to iteratively refine their designs. This was not a process of sudden breakthroughs, but rather a slow accumulation of marginal gains in efficiency and durability. The first successful units were sold primarily through word of mouth among a small circle of professional engine builders who required a level of consistency that off-the-shelf parts could not provide. A critical turning point occurred when the organization decided to move beyond simple component manufacturing and began developing integrated control modules. This internal change was driven by the realization that even the best hardware was limited by the software driving it. By developing their own proprietary algorithms for signal processing, Pulsar was able to offer a level of timing accuracy that was previously unavailable to the privateer racer. This decision to become a vertically integrated technology company allowed them to control the entire signal path, from the initial crankshaft position trigger to the final spark at the plug. It was during this phase that the internal culture of the company solidified around a philosophy of transparency and data-driven development. They began to publish their testing methodologies, sharing raw data with their customers to prove the efficacy of their designs. This fostered a sense of trust and shifted the company from a mere supplier to a technical partner for its clients. As the brand entered its growth phase, it encountered the classic challenges of scaling production without compromising the artisanal quality that had established its reputation. Moving from hand-assembled batches to semi-automated production lines required a massive investment in specialized machinery and quality control protocols. The structural evolution of the company saw the recruitment of specialists from diverse fields, including telecommunications and heavy industrial electronics, who brought new perspectives on signal interference and electromagnetic shielding. Scaling meant navigating the complexities of global supply chains. Ensuring that the high-purity copper and specialized resins required for their components were consistently available became a full-time logistical endeavor. Despite the pressure to reduce costs by using cheaper materials, the leadership maintained a strict adherence to their original specifications, understanding that their differentiation in the market was entirely dependent on their refusal to compromise on durability. The brand successfully differentiated itself by focusing on the invisible aspects of performance. While other companies marketed their products with flashy colors and bold claims of horsepower gains, Pulsar focused on the stability of the electrical pulse and the longevity of the hardware under extreme conditions. They positioned themselves as the choice for the serious builder, the individual who valued the peace of mind that comes from knowing a $5 electrical component would not ruin a $50,000 engine. This reputation for reliability was further bolstered by their involvement in endurance racing, where the ability to function flawlessly for 24 hours straight was the ultimate validation of their engineering. The brand became a symbol of quiet competence, favored by those who preferred technical substance over marketing rhetoric. Several cultural and technological factors influenced the rise of the brand during the early 21st century. The proliferation of affordable, high-powered turbocharged engines created a massive demand for precise ignition control, as these engines are particularly sensitive to timing errors. Simultaneously, the rise of internet forums and digital communities allowed for the rapid dissemination of technical knowledge. Independent tests conducted by enthusiasts often showed that Pulsar components outperformed more established brands, leading to an organic surge in popularity. The market was moving away from black box solutions toward more transparent, user-adjustable systems, and the company was perfectly positioned to ride this wave. Their willingness to provide detailed wiring diagrams and technical support to the average consumer helped demystify complex automotive electronics, further embedding the brand into the enthusiast culture. The long-term impact of the company is seen in how it has shaped the modern standards for aftermarket electronics. Today, the principles they championed, thermal management, signal integrity, and vibration resistance, are considered baseline requirements for any reputable manufacturer. The organization has evolved into a multifaceted entity that provides consulting services to larger automotive manufacturers while continuing to serve the core community that supported it in the beginning. It is known today not just for the products it sells, but for its role in professionalizing the performance tuning industry. The name has become a shorthand for a specific type of engineering philosophy that prioritizes the integrity of the process over the speed of the result. By remaining focused on the fundamental physics of the electrical pulse, the company has managed to stay relevant across multiple generations of vehicle technology, from the last of the analog engines to the latest hybrid and electric platforms. In the contemporary era, the brand continues to operate with the same meticulous attention to detail that defined its early years in that small workshop. The transition towards electric mobility has presented new challenges, yet the core mission of managing energy with precision remains the same. As vehicles become more reliant on complex high-voltage systems, the expertise developed over decades of internal combustion refinement is being applied to new frontiers. The history of the organization serves as a case study in how a dedicated focus on solving a specific, overlooked technical problem can lead to the creation of a lasting industrial legacy. It is a narrative of steady progress, built not on the back of aggressive expansion, but through the consistent application of sound engineering principles and a deep understanding of the environment in which their components must survive. This journey from a niche solution to an industry standard reflects a broader truth in the world of technology, that the most enduring brands are often those that provide the most reliable foundations for the innovations of others.